Good day everyone, this is Cadet Baran Matthew and today we are going to talk about the marine environment, the major sources of marine pollution and its impact, and the MARPOL Convention. So what is marine environment? Marine environment means the physical, atmospheric, and biological components, conditions, and factors that interactively determine the productivity, state, condition, and quality of the marine ecosystem. This includes the waters of the high seas, the contiguous zone, transitional and intertidal areas, salt marshes, and wetlands within the coastal zone and on the OCS, or the outer continental shelf. Also, marine environment means the sea, coast, beaches, seabed, the water mass or the water column, and environmental resources. These environmental resources actually means naturally occurring or natural biotic and abiotic components, which can include one or more species, biotopes, and or habitats in a marine environment. So now, let's talk about the major or main sources of marine pollution. So the marine pollution are basically caused by two sources, which is the land-based sources and the shipping and maritime industry. So talking about the land-based sources, so for example are byproducts of industry, the runoff from agricultural pesticides and herbicides, the influence discharge from urban areas, and exploration and exploitation activities. Some shipping and maritime industry cause of marine pollution is the collision of the ship, grounding or accidental discharge, operational discharge, tank washing, ballasting or deballasting, machinery space discharge, and lastly, docking. Now, let's talk about the effects of marine pollution. So the effects of marine pollution is that it blankets the surface, interfering with the oxygen exchange between the sea and the atmosphere. Also, it blankets the seabed, interfering with the growth of the marine life. Also, elements are mostly toxic and it can enter the food chain. Also, oil may enter seawater distilling inlets and may deposited on tidal mudflats, again with detrimental result. And lastly, it interferes with the recreational uses of beaches. So now, let's move on to the MARPOL Convention, its history, when it was adopted, when it entered into force, and its objectives. Also, it includes all the regulations of MARPOL annexes, which consist of 6 annexes. So MARPOL Convention, or the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships. It is the main international convention covering prevention of pollution of the maritime environment by ships from operational or accidental causes. The MARPOL Convention was adopted on the 2nd November 1973 at the IMO, or International Maritime Organization. The Protocol of the 1978 was adopted in response to a spate of tanker accidents in 1976 to 1977. So as the 1973 MARPOL Convention had not yet entered into force, the 1978 MARPOL Protocol absorbed the parent convention. So the combined instrument entered into force on the 2nd October 1983. So in 1997, a protocol was adopted to amend the convention, and a new Annex 6 was added, which entered into force on the 19th of May 2005. So MARPOL has been updated by amendments through the years. So the convention includes the regulation aimed at preventing and minimizing pollution from ships, both accidental pollution and that from routine operations, and currently including 6 technical annexes. Special areas with strict controls on operational discharge are included in most annexes. So let's move on to the 6 annexes of MARPOL Convention. So Annex 1 is the regulations for the prevention of pollution by oil. It entered into force on October 2, 1983. So this annex covers the prevention of pollution by oil from operational measures as well as from accidental discharges. Annex 2 is the regulation for the control of pollution by noxious liquid substances in bulk. It entered into force on October 2, 1983. So the details, the discharge criteria, and measures for the control of pollution by noxious liquid substances carried in bulk. The third annex, or Annex 3, is the prevention of pollution by harmful substances carried by sea in package form. It entered into force on the first day of July 1992. So it contains general requirements for the issuing of detailed standards on packing, marking, labeling, documentation, stowage, quantity limitations, exceptions, and notifications. So Annex 4 is the prevention of pollution by sewage from ships. It entered into force on the 27th day of September 2003. So this annex contains requirements to control pollution of the sea by sewage. So Annex 5 is the prevention of pollution by garbage from ships. So it entered into force on December 31, 1988. So this annex deals with different types of garbage and specifies the distance from land and the manner in which they may be disposed of. So the last annex, or the Annex 6, is the prevention of air pollution from ships. It entered into force on May 19, 2005. So this annex sets limits on sulfur oxide and nitrogen oxide emissions from ship exhaust and prohibits deliberate emissions of ozone depleting substances. And that's it for today, and I hope you learned something. Once again, this is Cadet Baran Matthew. Good day.